back to the World Explorers podcast, where today we're going to do something a bit different. So, me and Isaac are just going to rant about Disney. So, like Disney Pixar and Disney Animated Studio mostly, and just a bunch of stuff related to that, maybe throw in a few other movie references, but just rant about where we think this giant company is going in its storytelling and its effect on the people, just as kind of like our special April 1st episode. Like, joke on you guys, we're not doing a world building podcast, we're doing a discussion about other stuff. But hopefully you guys still enjoy it. Let us know in the comments if you do, and maybe we'll do some more of this. And if you don't, let us know why, so we can either change it to be better or just remove it completely depending on the feel. So yeah, just let us know. But let's get into some debating. Enjoy. I think Inside Out is an amazing movie. Like, it is, I say it's one of Pixar's best, if not best movie.
Yeah, they definitely did an excellent job with that one.
Oh, it's such a tough concept to get right, and they did it so well. There's another one. We'll add that. You guys go watch Inside Out. Pixar could be on the bingo list.
Just everything Pixar.
No, well, it'll be like Disney Animated Studios. Like, they get their own, and then Pixar gets their own. Because they're both Disney, but they're kind of separate.
2 or 3 Pixar movies where it's like,
Well, no, I have ranked most of the Pixar movies, except I think their 2 newest. But
yeah, I've heard like some good things and some bad things about their latest one.
Okay,
the giant red panda. I can't think what it's called now.
Turning Red. I have seen it.
Turning Red.
Let's just say I'm gonna have a video out of Turning Red. Was not a bad movie, but based off of the last 3 movies Pixar has put out, I'm very concerned about the direction Pixar is going morally. And I think it's very interesting considering how great, especially when you compare it to Disney Animation Studios. Anyways, compared to Disney Animated Studios is comparing their latest 3 movies, which all 3 are all 3 are really, Frozen 2 was which came first, Frozen 2? I have just watched all these movies and they're all mixed up. But like their latest 2, Encanto and Raya and the Last Dragon, are incredible morally. Like, their moral messaging and, like, about family and trust. And, like, it is mind-blowing, like, how good their messaging is. And then the latest 3 Pixar movies is going in a direction, and I don't like it. It's a concerning direction. These 2 companies who are in the same umbrella of Disney are going in 2 different directions in moral ideas. And I think Pixar's going downhill with it, while Disney Animated Studios is going up. And yeah, I'm worried about Disney. I'm worried about Pixar.
What were the last 3 movies for Pixar? There was Turning Red and what were the others?
It's Luca and Soul. Now, I think Luca Soul. I have thoughts, but Luca. Well, it's I think definitely the better out of those 3. It still has this inkling of it, and then if you add in Toy Story 4, it kind of completes like. Pixar is going down a route of encouraging children to be selfish.
Yeah, I heard that about Turning Red. Like, it's encouraging kids to fight parents or
the parents in this movie are... I think what bugs me is, like, Luca, I get why he's rebelling against his mom. Like, I wouldn't want to go into the deep dark either with the creepy uncle. I don't blame him.
Like the parents went too far with that.
Yeah, but in Turning Red, at no point do I feel the mom went too far. Like, I don't think the mom was ever unreasonable to her daughter. And yet she was still constantly fighting against her and doing things behind her back, and she was never really honest to her mother at all. Like, she never gave her mom the chance to be honest about it. To the point where I feel like it would have justified her, like, saying no to her mom. Like, it was missing a lot of elements, and at the point where I was sitting there, like, I think it got to the point where the kid is the one being unreasonable, but the movie is encouraging this kid to be unreasonable. And part of me is scared that this is just one big ploy to sell more merchandise, because if the children are bratty, they're going to beg their parents for, like, the merchandise more, like toys and stuff, and demand it more, and the parents more likely to buy it for them. Like, I am scared that this is some giant marketing scheme on Pixar's point of view.
I didn't think think of it as so much of a marketing scheme. I thought of it more as I can see what they were doing in terms of
Yeah.
trying to make a good story, because I think what their goal was to be relatable in the sense of this is a character who's going through puberty. She has all this anxiety and everything. Again, I haven't seen the movie yet.
Yeah.
Just making that clear. But anyway, she's got all this anxiety, and the story is meant to be relatable to her in that position, and and everybody goes through that in life, because we've all been teenagers.
Yeah.
Unless you're like 12, then you have something to look forward to. Also, why is a 12-year-old listening to a world building podcast?
Lord knows. I mean.
Anyway,
I.
so it was meant to be relatable, but the problem was kids at that age are very often very immoral with their actions and how they see and how they view their parents and stuff. And when they tried to be relatable, they ended up mimicking that bad behavior, and then it was as though they're promoting that bad behavior. And that's where I think
and then it gets to the point where it's not relatable anymore. Because I was sitting there watching this movie, and there were points where I'm like, I'd never, like, what she was doing to her, like, I'd sit there, like, I felt so bad for the mom in this movie. And the mom did some things where I'm like, oh, wow, but I'm like, at the same time, like, I get why the mom did it. And in Luca, I was Team Luca, and, like, what Luca was doing. And I was for him, like, growing and supporting. But in Turning Red, I was the mom all the way, and I was like, I feel like this kid is being a brat, and needs to, like, I get her wanting to keep the panda power. Go ahead, go for that, fight. But at the same time, like, there was this other element where I'm sitting there, like, I get it, you want to become a woman, and you want more responsibility, and you're trying to prove yourself. But at the same time, you're not communicating with your mom in a way that justifies you being ready for what's happening, for, like, becoming a woman. And you're insisting that to become a woman, you have to I think that's the thing that bugged me, that in order to become an adult, you have to completely separate yourself from your parents and everything they represent. Was kind of what the message was. And I disagree with that. I think part of becoming adult is blending your ancestors and your past in with yourself in a meaningful way, instead of, like, outcasting them, or, like, I don't know. There was a lot. I'm still trying to process it, and I'm gonna make a video on it. But I'm still processing watching this movie, because it was, like, it seemed like a movie that, like, watching it shouldn't feel wrong, but it felt wrong, and I'm still trying to figure out why it felt wrong watching it. Because it's like a deep, like, Soul, it was very quick and easy for me to see, oh, this is what's wrong with this movie.
There was a million things wrong with that movie.
So many things wrong. Like, Soul, I was like, that's wrong. That we should not be encouraging this in children. But this movie, it's hidden really deep. And it's hidden under, like, these positive seeming messages. And that's why I think Turning Red is a scarier movie than Soul is. Like, Soul, I think you can identify, a kid can even identify, and they'll be okay, and they can avoid it, and they can still enjoy the good parts about the movie. But Turning Red, I think if you try to embrace the good parts of this movie, you're going to accidentally embrace the bad parts too. Because you're not going to realize it. And that's what makes Turning Red, to my opinion, a very dangerous movie to have your kids watch. Like, I was watching it with my little brother, and I'm sitting here like, I don't want my little brother watching this. Like, why? I'm like, I want to turn off the TV and say, you know what? Well, family night, let's just go watch Encanto again. That's a good family movie. Like, that's what I was wanting to do watching Turning Red. Like, I didn't want my little brother watching the movie, and that's usually a big red flag.
Yeah, I am also concerned about Pixar. Like, Pixar has such a long track record of being just the greatest animation studio of all time. They make some of the best movies of all time, period. Because they have, like, these formulas that they go through where they manage to make each movie different, but it still fits within the formula that it has proven to work extremely well. And they have certain standards in terms of storytelling, voice acting, animation, especially in terms of animation. But now they seem to be slacking a bit. Animation's still good, but other than that,
Honestly, like, if you were to ask me 5 years ago, like, which animation studio under Disney did I prefer, Pixar or the Disney animated studios, I would have picked Pixar. But if you were to ask me that today, having seen all the Pixar movies and all of Disney animated movies, I've seen them all, I would say I think Disney Animation Studios is the better studio as of today. I think they're better. I think they're improving better, while Pixar's not. I think when it comes to their core values, Disney Animation Studios upholds them better. I have discovered their core values is diversity, but there are diversity, love, and there is another one, culture. Culture. Those are the three things. Disney does not always do a good job representing these three things, but they are determined to represent these three things, and they try to do it in a positive way, and they've been improving in representing those three things in a positive way. Meanwhile, Pixar, which kind of has a similar three, have slowly been, like, leaving those three. They used to be focused on, like, family and friendships and those things, and now I feel like they're focusing more on you as a person, and it's all about you. And it's becoming selfish. And now, like, Turning Red, it's all about the girl and what she wants, and that's it. And she hurts her friends, she hurts her families, and there's no consequences. In Soul, it's all about what he wants, and he hurts 97, 96, 68, whatever her number is.
22.
22. I was so off. He hurts 22. He hurts his students. No one thinks about what happens to the students afterwards. He hurts that band he promised to play for. He hurts all of them in the process. No consequences. Even Luca, he ends up hurting his friend. He hurts his family. But there are consequences, and therefore that Luca's a better movie.
Yeah, and at least Luca
learns and adapts.
He tried to atone for it later on, like when during the race.
Yeah,
he tried to make up for it at the end.
He learned, and that's what made that movie better. But that doesn't happen in Soul and Turning Red in the way. I think Luca. I'm scared that Luca is Pixar's last good movie, and that they're just gonna continue down. And then Toy Story 4. Ooh, oh.
I still haven't seen Toy Story 4.
Oh, it's so bad. I'm so upset with them.
I thought that it was a good movie. It just didn't fit with the three.
It's just bad.
It existed, but it was good.
No.
Because it was well done at the same time.
No. No. It took all the beautiful, wonderful morals that was wrapped up in a nice bow with the original trilogy and just chucked them out the window. And you sat there crying as they flew away. And you're like, how could you? And again, it became a movie, it turned Woody, who is all about, like, for the kids and for the other toys, and let's be a community and family, and turned him, okay, it's all about me and what I want now.
Oh,
and
so
I am so upset! Yeah, that's what happens.
I mean, that's actually kind of how the first episode started off, was Woody being selfish.
Yeah, he converted back to what he originally was. Yeah. It's like he took like 50 steps back. So did Buzz. Buzz went back to like the Spanish mode in movie 3. Like, why? Yeah, I think the last was there one Toy Story 4 was right before Luca, right? There's not one in between.
I think so.
I don't think there's one in between.
I think it was before Luca.
Yeah, so the last 4 Pixar movies have been slowly becoming more selfish. Luca less so. Luca's a good Pixar movie. I like Luca.
Yeah, Luca was good because Luca they ended it well.
Yeah,
was the thing.
You cried a little. It was like it gave me hope that Toy Story 4 was just a fluke, and then Soul came out, and now Turning Red, and I'm like, maybe Luca's now the fluke.
Yeah, I mean, if a character is doing bad stuff, there has to be some sort of consequence, or they have to realize that what they were doing was bad and grow as a character.
Yeah.
You can't have it where nothing happens. Like, they just did something bad, and it's like, okay, that's going to keep going. Now all it is you don't like this character, or even worse, you like this character, and you want to mimic this character, mirror this character.
Yeah. Because some might say Turning Red there was a consequence for what she did, but the truth is, not really, and at the same time, the character clearly feels no regret for what happened. Like, at the end of the day, she's like, she would have done exactly what she did the exact same way again. And I think that's where it was wrong, because she made mistakes along the way, and part of her should be like, you know what? I would have done this differently. I would have talked to my mom more. I would have been more open about the importance of my friends in my life and wanting them to be part of this and like wanting my mom's approval for this. I would have explained to her why going to this concert thing was so important to me so she understood. Like, I would have communicated better. And there was none of that. She feels that she handled it the only right way, and her way was not the right way. And there was a better way, and kids should have been at least shown that there's a better way, and that, you show the wrong way so people understand the importance of doing it right. So why are you showing the wrong way as the only right way? 'Cause it's just wrong.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's similar to The Little Mermaid, except The Little Mermaid was done better.
Yeah.
Where you got The Little Mermaid, she disobeys her father, and then this is seen as a good thing. I mean, her father does overreact. Granted,
Yeah.
but the thing is, they were both in the wrong. But it's treated as though Ariel was in the right all along.
Yeah, which
there are consequences, but she's still in the wrong.
Yeah, no, I agree. The Little Mermaid has problems.
And it's just an evil person doing something evil for evil's sake.
Yeah, but I think at the same time, though, the Little Mermaid, she's not fully selfish in her desires either, and that I think makes it easier. Is when a character wants something and they're completely selfish in wanting it, it makes it harder to like justify what they're doing. Like, sure, Ariel pretty selfish. She wants the guy, but at the same time, like,
she literally sings, "I want more."
Yeah. I agree. Ariel does not have the greatest messaging. That's why as a movie, I think it's great. But as a Disney princess, she's low on my list of like good role models.
I mean, Little Mermaid has a lot of other things that make it good, but that one bit of moral messaging, that's a problem.
Yeah. How about, I mean, if we're on the topic of Disney princesses, I think Rapunzel is a better example of like, you see someone, she's constantly trying to properly explain to her mom why she wants to go out of the tower and like grow up and like all this stuff, and her mom's still refusing, and then she has the opportunity, but all along the way she's feeling regret about it. And like, yes. I could have done this better, and she's like, thinking of ways she could have done it better, but at the same time she keeps going because she knows at the end of the day literally there's no other option for her. And then
plus it helps that her mother is evil.
Yeah, well, that does help. Yeah, and
so you don't mind her being bad to the mother, but she at the same time she regrets being evil to this. She regrets doing something wrong to this evil mother, which just makes her look even better and makes the mother look even worse.
Yeah, like Rapunzel's a great role model for like how to handle a situation like being in a situation where someone's abusing you, and you should get out, but at the same time you don't want to become an abuser while trying to avoid being abused. Like and even at like the end, at the same time, like she has her moral compass. Like when she promises something, she keeps it. Like, she's willing to go full-blown in slavery for the rest of her life to save... And she's so unselfish about her desires, and this is her one dream. And at the same time, she feels like there's something out there for her, and that it's good for more people than just her, for her to go out there. Like, Rapunzel is so selfless that you don't mind her wanting this one selfish thing.
Yeah, like, good character, good role model, good story.
Mulan's the same way. Mulan's amazing.
I want to watch that movie again now.
Yeah, Mulan's also amazing. And for the same reason. Like, she's doing this thing, and yes, it's against her parents' will, but she's doing it to save her father's life and to save her family. And she feels like she's not as useful to the family as her father is, and she's extendable, and that's a horrible feeling to have. And then along the way, she realizes she's just as important to this family. And her parents accept her, and it's just sweet. And Mulan's also a good example of, like, a good role model. Belle is the same way. Those are my top 3 princesses, are Rapunzel, Mulan, and Belle.
Yeah, like,
role
both
model
Belle and Mulan, they disobeyed their parents, but it's for selfless reasons, and they're doing it for their parents.
Yeah. And, well, Rapunzel does it for a selfish reason. She's so selfless about how she does it that it's okay.
and she's selfless about like everything else in her life. It's like she has much to be selfish about.
Yeah.
But still, she's very selfless in her life, and her mother is awful, and she still feels bad about doing this thing to her awful mother. That just makes her look even better. It makes the mother look even worse, which is good because she is the villain. You don't want her to appear as the good guy.
Yeah.
But when she's acting like the good guy, it makes her seem even worse because she's being so manipulative, but she comes off as so sweet and kind, and it's just all around it's fantastic bundle of emotions.
It's so much. You see why I'm leaning towards Disney Animation Studios being the better studio. Like, just complex ideas. I think they're handling themselves better. They have a lot more experience. They have infinitely more movies. And surprisingly, but I think like the good to bad movie ratio is high. It's like good movies to bad ratios is Disney Animation Studios has more good movies than it does bad movies compared to how Pixar has good movies to bad movies. Like the ratio is higher.
Pixar has like 3 bad movies.
Yeah, and they're all especially if you cut out the World War II and everything sucks and so this Disney movie era. If you just cut that era out, then Disney's like good movies to bad movies like skyrockets to like unbelievably good ratio compared to Pixar, where Pixar has some movies which I think are you shouldn't watch them. Things like The Good Dinosaur, don't let your kids watch that. Soul, I'd let your teenager watch it because I think it's a good like discussion piece, but don't let your kids watch it. Turning Red, I think it's going to be the same. Like, let your teenage watch it, but don't let a kid watch it. But it's a good discussion.
Teenager is like the worst one to let watch that, isn't it?
No, I think it'd actually be good for a teenager if you are willing to be open and have discussions about it.
What teenager is willing to be open and have discussions about it?
Well, I like to think that I, as a teenager, was open and willing to have discussions about things. Was I weird?
Okay, so maybe if you are an already open teenager who's willing to have discussions, sure. But I'd say for most, no.
Yeah, because that's Toy Story 4. I mean, you can let your kid watch it. I just think it's a not great movie. Like, there are movies I actually actively dislike in Pixar. And Disney, there's not many, and all of them involve having Donald Duck in them. So as long as you avoid the movies with Donald Duck in it, you're good.
A quick question. What are your thoughts on Cars 2?
Oh, okay. So not like Cars the second, like the one with Lightning McQueen's retirement.
No, that's 3. The one with Tow Major Secret Agent.
Oh, I think it's a silly, goofy movie you can let your kids watch if you need them to be quiet for an hour or two. Like, I think it's harmless.
Yeah, like
I think it's just like Story-wise, it's sad.
I thought it had a lot of enjoyable moments.
No, I think
it's not super significant, and I get the criticism that it doesn't fit with the other 2 movies, like in terms of feel and everything. But if you can like ignore that disconnect, just watch it for what it is.
It's an enjoyable movie.
It's not a bad movie. It's not a great movie, but it's not a bad movie.
If you want a Pixar movie with just more action and less emotion and theology that tends to be inside every Pixar and even Disney animated movie, go watch Cars 2. Like, it's not like
just turn your brain off of Cars 2.
Yeah, like I will watch Cars 2 over Soul and The Good Dinosaur any day, and probably even over Turning Red.
Huh? That says how bad Turning Red is.
I
also haven't watched Good Dinosaur yet.
Good
Dinosaur.
Dinosaur
Also have bad morals or something?
I would say The Good Dinosaur is the worst Pixar movie, just hands down. It is all about, at the end of the day, it is all about you have to earn your family's love. If you're not good enough for your family's love, then you pretty much don't deserve to live.
Oh.
Oh yeah.
Huh.
Oh yeah. and it would have been so easy to fix. There's this one scene, and I was ready. I'm sitting there like, oh, this is the point. The dad's spirit's coming back. He's gonna kneel down and tell him, you know what? You didn't have to do all of this. You were worthy. You were part of our family, no matter what. And instead, he's like, you've messed up. Go rescue that boy, or you're not worthy of being part of this family. I'm just sitting there like, oh my gosh, he didn't. His son is kneeling there. It's the first Pixar movie with blood, like actually drawn on blood. He's literally bleeding. He's been through awful things, all to prove to his dad, who's his dead dad, that he is worthy to be part of this family and his parents and stuff. And his dad comes back from the dead to tell him that. Both me and my mom were watching this for the first time together. We both just sat there and went, oh, he did. Like, we really, like, gasped in horror. Like, no, you don't know.
I need to see this movie now. I gotta see this for myself. Like, this is something else. Like this is Pixar.
Yeah. Let's see.
We expect more from Pixar. I haven't seen Onward either.
Oh, Onward's great. Onward's amazing.
Onward sound like
Onward's the one in between Toy Story 4 and Soul.
Okay, so yeah, they have that.
Yeah, Onward's really good.
Like I read like the description of it like before it came out and everything, and I'm like, oh, this sounds like it's gonna be just an incredible movie.
So the actors they got were incredible. The story is incredible. It's masterpiece of a movie. That one's really good.
Yeah, like it.
Onward is better than Luca.
Yeah, just from the description, it sounded like this was going to be a masterpiece.
It was indeed a masterpiece. It's like one of my favorite. I can't believe I forgot. It's one of my favorites. Like, I would say it's one of my like top 3. I have a ranking of all the Pixar movies. I did this. This is a video I have. Onward's in it. I think Soul is too, because I think I did it with Soul. I just looking at that. I have like Inside Out, Finding Nemo, and Onward are my top 3.
Those all sound like good options, even though I haven't seen Onward.
Yeah, so Onward is 3rd, according to this list. And it remains so. I didn't have Up as 4th, WALL-E, Ratatouille. I have Brave, because I love Brave. Toy Story 3 is my favorite.
I thought that Brave was a good movie, but I really felt like it was missing something. And the entire time, while I'm watching, I'm like, what is it that this is missing?
Dancing.
And I realized what it was a little while after watching the movie, because this is Pixar trying to do like a Disney princess movie.
Yep.
And I realized what it was missing was the song.
Yep, no song. No, well, it was a parody.
Song.
No, it was a parody on the like. There was a lot of making fun, like, you know how they had the father nearly die in the beginning, but then he doesn't actually die, or the fact that there is no songs, like She Won't Burst Out Singing, is like a parody off of that.
Yeah.
And there's still like music, and it's pretty because it's.
Yeah, but it's not the same as the character bursting out into songs about her feelings.
You gotta just stare into the water. That was a scene that I rewatching Wreck-It Ralph 2. With Penelope meets all the princesses, and she's trying to find, because she's a Disney princess in her own rights. And they're like discussing with all of the princesses, like, how do you find your true self or know what you want? And they all look there and like, we stare into water. And she's like, what? We stare into water and then we burst out into songs. And she's like, you do what now? And they're all like, one's like, I was a waterfall. I'm like, a lake, a well. And they just list all of them have done. Cinderella's like, mine was bubbles.
I never realized that.
And then Penelope goes out and she finds some spilled like coffee on the sidewalk. And she looks into it and she bursts into an amazing Disney princess song. And I'm like, that is how you do a parody on Disney princesses. It's funny enough Disney did it.
I've not seen Wreck-It Ralph or Ralph Breaks the Internet. I want to.
Wreck-It Ralph is an amazing movie. Ralph Breaks the Internet is a pretty good movie. It's not as good. They tried to put it in the internet, which I think was a mistake. Like, they tried to put internet themes like and hate like culture and like instant stardom and like these really big topics as itsy bitsy tiny topics that I felt distracted from the main point of the movie. But
it's basically the Emoji Movie done right.
It is. It is
if
definitely.
If you could do the Emoji Movie right.
If you can, it's Wreck-It Ralph Breaks the Internet. Honest though, it was a good movie. I liked both. Both are good. I've got Cars 3. I liked Cars 3 better than Cars. I'm sure, controversial. Incredibles, Monster Inc., Incredibles 2, Toy Story, Monsters University, Cars, Finding Dory, Luca, Coco, Toy Story 2, Toy Story 4. I have A Bug's Life. I would switch that. I think A Bug's Life actually belongs in 20 and Toy Story 4 in 21. Soul, The Good Dinosaur. And I did switch that in the last one. I switched Cars and 2 and Good Dinosaur. Yeah, that was my list. I think my list has developed more. I think Cars 2 has moved up in my opinion. Because the more I sit with movies like Soul, the lower I want to put them.
Yeah, I'm like that with a lot of movies. Basically, if a movie, if I watch it the first time and I decide it's bad, usually it just goes down from there. Or even if it's just okay, it usually just keeps on going downhill from there.
Yeah, Soul has dropped, in my opinion, more and more and more and more.
Yeah, like Star Wars Episode 8, I watched it in theaters. I was expecting a good movie. And I came out confused. And I just kept on thinking about, like, that wasn't all that great. I had many moments of disappointment while I was watching it. The more and more I thought about it, it over time became, like, one of my most hated movies ever. Yeah. I still have not seen Episode 9, but I've heard that it's even worse than Episode 8.
I was, okay with, like, the first two, and then Episode 9 I was like, I'm sitting here like, you know what, I feel to Star Wars as I do Doctor Who. Like, I just don't want to invest in it anymore. It's not worth it.
You got enjoyment out of Episode 8?
Yes, I did. And you know what? That's my personal choice.
Okay. Yeah, like, another example, the newer My Little Pony movie. I started off thinking, it was good. It's not great, but it's good. It has some problems, but then over time, I started thinking more and more about those problems, and it started getting worse. I'm like, yeah, I guess it's really just an okay movie. But it's got these other problems that I can't really call them problems just yet, because the series isn't out, and I might explain them. But then I started watching some interviews. The series is not out by the time this video is out, by the way. But I've been looking at, like, interviews and stuff that the director and the animators have been doing, and none of them seem to know what they're doing, and they are actually explaining some of the things that are in the movie, and they are not satisfying explanations, and that a lot of them don't make sense, and so it's just making the movie worse every time they have an interview. I do
have my ranking of my Disney Animated Studio 60 films. First is Tangled. I love that movie. It is the movie I have seen the most in the world. Literally, my friend was obsessed. I watched it every day, like, straight for, like, 2 months. And I still like the movie. That's how you know it's good.
It's a very good movie. One that I was obsessed with for a while was Bolt.
Bolt is what my little brother was obsessed. It's 28th, so it's still pretty good. Like, it's top half.
Yeah, it's definitely a good movie. It's not like the most incredible thing ever, but I still really, really love that movie.
Oh, no, it's good. I enjoyed rewatching it. I did watch Dinosaur, and I actually really enjoyed Dinosaur. Watching it.
I didn't, like, enjoy Dinosaur a ton.
I did 27. I liked it better than Bolt.
Yeah, I thought that, I'd say that Bolt is the better movie of the two, but Dinosaur, it's not bad.
It was so much more and complex than that. I was not prepared for such a deep message in this poorly CGI'd movie.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't think that, like, in terms of, like, story and everything, it was particularly interesting. Character was often good, not always. That his lemur brother, the yellow one, he could have been removed, like, from the movie.
Definitely. Just not needed.
He was not helpful. Like, you could have made him basically the Samwise of this movie, where he's actually supportive, but he wasn't.
No, he was. But, like, he was my only issue with the movie. Like, the way they portrayed the quote-unquote villains, like, the two main big guy, like, they're not villains, but, like, the two leaders of that, was so good. Like, they are so good. Especially the one who ends up dying, sadly. Like his
Like,
death.
I did not expect him to die.
I was so shocked. I'm sitting there like that. Like out of the like, I honestly top one of the top 5 Disney deaths. Like that hit me hard. Like I
Yeah,
don't know why, but his death. Like I cried watching his death. I'm like, this was 5 minutes ago. This guy was a villain jerk, and now I'm sitting here crying at his death. I'm like, what is this movie?
like, it's because you don't expect it.
But like,
It's like
so powerful too, and
you expect like the hardcore villain to die
for
and
the
then
other
cheering.
characters.
But this one's like
He
you
died
expected
for
a
others.
redemption arc. And people get redemption arcs, they can't die unless they are the hardcore villain like Darth Vader.
Yeah, but he also he did die for the others. I'm talking about this.
like-
I'm talking about the minion, not the leader of the group who did die
So am I.
without getting.
So am
Okay,
I.
okay, making sure because there was the other guy also died, but he did not get a redemption.
Yeah.
Which I also thought was very powerful for this kids movie. This movie, it hit hard. Like, this movie hit hard in, like, a good way. And I think people should talk about it more, because it blew me. I was going in, like, because I'm like, it's part of Disney's Forgotten Era, for one thing. And I'm sitting here, like, not having the high, like, Disney has some amazing movies in the Forgotten Era. But this was the one, Dinosaur is out of the 60 movies, the only one I had never heard of going into my watching them all in order.
Yeah, wasn't I the person who first
Yeah.
told you about it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was just like, why have I never heard of this movie? This was great. I'd watch this again.
Yeah, I mean, I barely remembered it when I was measuring. It was like, I think the main reason I remember that movie is because we had a CD game for our computer many, many years ago.
Yeah.
And that I played constantly.
It surprised me how good it was. Yeah. I mean, it made it in the top half of the Disney movies for me. Along with greats like Zootopia and Pocahontas. And both Frozen movies. Frozen made top 10, Frozen 2 made it 11th. Because I think they're just on par with each other. Which I know you disagree with, but that's my personal opinion. I think they're the same level, with Frozen just being slightly better.
Frozen 2, I was not satisfied with Frozen 2.
See, we differ. That's the one where we could rant for 5 hours disagreeing with each other. Like, me arguing for it and him against.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say that for the most part, when it comes to movies and shows and stuff, we're in agreement. But every once in a while, there's like, it's one or two movies where it's like, nah, we disagree. Like, we'll have like complete... Again, I still have not seen the live action Mulan, but I'm gonna watch it at some point, and I'll try to keep in mind what you said, like watch it for what it is, and then judge it on that.
As a historical, like a more, like as a better cultural representation, it's a good movie. Compared to Mulan, like the original Disney movie, it's trash. But as like them trying to be more culturally true to the history and story of the actual Mulan, because Mulan's a real person, it's better. Except for one element, which I probably wasn't necessary, and I agree with other people, but you know.
Because magic is historically accurate.
No,
yes.
like, I mean, like, to the culture, like, what they believe. They believed, like, Mulan as more of a magical figure than people realize.
Yeah, actually, now that I think about it, in the original Mulan, unless you count, like, the ancestors, there was no magic.
No.
Like, it was all her. There was, like, no help of any magical source, or anything.
Mushu
it was, like,
helped.
all Mulan. What?
Mushu helped. He was a good guardian.
But is he magic?
Yeah.
Like, he doesn't even do anything magical except for the occasional fire breath. So he's basically a walking, talking lighter.
Yeah, but he gives emotion. Look, Mushu was a very important part of Mulan's life.
Yeah, I mean, but that's because of his character, not because of his magic.
Interestingly, though, I like looking at my movies. My top 5 are like all, especially if if Maribeth becomes a Disney princess, they're all Disney princess movies. Oh, Rey is not officially a princess yet, so maybe not. There's 2 who they might become. Moana is. She has officially joined the princess group, I think, last year. She had a coronation. I love that Disney does a coronation when the princesses get accepted into this league. And I love that Elsa and
Moana
Anna
was
will
a
never
good
be
movie.
part of it. Yeah, that's number 4. Milan's 5. Big Hero 6, funny enough, got 6th. I think Big Hero 6 is like not just one of the animation studio's best movies. I think it's one of Marvel's best movies.
Yeah, and I think
That
it's
thing's a
an underrated movie.
masterpiece.
Like, people don't talk about it enough. Like, it's got all these, like, spin-offs and everything. It's got this mini-series, spin-off of the shorts and everything. They're making another movie called Baymax yet. I don't hear people talking about it.
It's a masterpiece. It's so good. Like, how it talks about dealing with grief and pain and, like, forgiving people and struggling with them. Like, it's so good. And also, like, you're in this world that seems so out of reach and these superpowers seem so unbelievable. But at the same time, you're sitting there like, you know what? I could see this happening. Like, this doesn't feel like completely out there. Good.
I think that part of that is because they explain how their powers and everything work.
Yeah.
They actually give logical explanations and reasons rather than saying, we can do it because the writer said so.
Also, they're not, like, overboard on the explanations. They're not, like, drilling in your head, this is how this works, this is how they work. They're like, their laser blades have been just combined tightly to make sharp blades that can cut through practically anything, and you're like, yeah, cool. Or the blades are like, they're not attached to anything, so it's just air, so there's no friction, and that's how it works. And you're like, yeah, cool. And it's like chemical reactions, and we're like, yeah, I'm on board. You can practically do anything now.
It's like little magnets. They control with your mind. They take whatever shape that you imagine.
Yeah,
but,
sure.
Okay.
Cool. And we don't need details. We're content with what they did. And then
okay, so I think that what we can pull from this discussion is that Disney's least talked about movies are very often their best movies, except for when they are least talked about for a very good reason.
Yeah. Like Hunchback of Notre Dame is another one that's not talked about enough.
Yeah. Like, but then the ones that are not talked about for good reasons are Donald Duck.
The Three Caraballeros. Don't watch it. Also, the original Fantasia, there's a reason why Fantasia 2000 only took... So the original plan for Fantasia was actually that it would be a continuous thing, like a yearly thing, where they would take some of the original shows and then add new ones and constantly be developing it. So every time you went to the movie theater and watched Fantasia, it would be a different experience. But, like, you could constantly go to the movie theater to see Fantasia. So instead what happened was Fantasia, its original shorts are all bad except for one. So Fantasia 2000 took the one good short and then made a bunch of new ones with it. And, like, completely threw the idea out the window because they realized we can't show those shorts again. They didn't age well. Fantasia is 59 on my list. It was not great. I've never seen so much nudity in a cartoon before.
And this is Disney.
This is Disney. That goldfish. Like, what was up with the goldfish? The goldfish was nearly as bad as the Star Wars Christmas special, Dreamscape thing. Like, I got the same feeling. Like, it's on the same line.
Though.
Not quite as bad. And it might be because it's a cartoon fish versus a real woman. But...
The real woman had pink, silly string hair.
This goldfish was looking at you suggestively. And dancing suggestively.
Did she speak, though?
Thank goodness no.
Yeah, because the woman actually spoke, and the things she said were very uncomfortable.
I mean, the woman spoke in the Three Calaveras with Donald Duck. The woman in the scene has a musical scene that's very, like, this is the same level as the Star Wars Christmas special. Because literally at one point, she's whispering in your ear, pretty woman, pretty woman, pretty woman. I'm just sitting there like, what? No.
I mean, the Christmas special, she whispered, I find you adorable, and then he pressed rewind and did it over and over.
No, but she's
I find you adorable.
She's actually saying pretty woman on repeat, like, from her own free will. And then she starts singing, and then Donald's just over there drooling, and I'm sitting here like, I don't know, I think
a similar thing happened with Chewie's grandpa.
Yeah.
Also, keep in mind, that was Chewie's grandpa.
I think though the funniest
No, it was
part.
his father, not his grandfather.
Yeah, I think the funniest part about Fantasia though. So halfway through the film, they have an intermission, and this intermission, everyone packs up their instruments and walks off the stage like to complete silence, and then they come back like 2 seconds later, walk back on the stage, unpack all their instruments, and the movie continues. This good.
I think that was meant for like an actual pause during, like in a theater or something. I don't know.
The movie's not that
I'm
long.
not sure.
It's an hour-long movie. Hour 15. I think it was an hour 15.
Strange then. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm just sitting there like, what? I'm like looking at if this goes on for 5 minutes. I'm like, what? Hello? Do we need this? I was like, why are they getting up? Please don't get up. Guys, come back. Guys, I want to just watch the movie. Guys! And then they come back straight after and they're like chatting to each other and I'm just like, what? Well, I don't want to watch an actual concert. I'm watching a movie. The point of the movie is I get to skip this part. Yeah. And I watched all 5 minutes of it because I had a rule I wasn't allowed to skip anything. But I think we should end.
I think that's a good place to end it. Bye!
Could you be nicer?
No! That's your job.
Well, here's the thing. So you just going bye doesn't quite work.
You don't think that's a good way to end it?
No, I think viewers will not come back.
Fine. Goodbye, everyone. I love you so much. I love you very much. Thank you for watching. Goodbye. Goodbye now. Was that friendlier?